Alright, so I made a super amateur video, and it's really not that captivating because I'm crossing what, I can say this because I'm white trash. These people who just watch TV and believe that, like, reality TV isn't scripted. And if you can't wrap your head around that, well, I mean, it's just the example proving my point. And so I think it's like with commercialism is where everything got lost in touch. And so it's no surprise that in commercials they're using drug companies that are just low end. If you break them down, all it is just doing some really crappy low end, like massaging. If you're massaging a low end thing, you would think that it's the cream of the crop just because it's commercialized as being on television. And so that assumption point where subjectively I'm describing really what white trash would perceive as easy to understand, hard to get. And so then balling those two things up is entertainment. So that's one thing. The white trash cognition of low IQ. And saying that's the problem of what corporations are capitalizing off of, commercialism, that these drug companies at the very end say sponsored by a drug company. And these drug companies sponsor stuff on TV to show that products are well accomplished because they're on TV. The middle ground of these two is that particle physics in the doctrine of solutions to cells of anatomy is these names that are little like smaller names having the protein poisons. Within these protein poisons is all these small names where you can look up and see what problems are, almost as if they're like when you get a code of a patent, but it's these medical names. I'm sorry, I'm trying to describe medical doctrine. And so that's the other side of the white trash cognition of low IQ, is these medical doctrine names where it's like a different language to people. And this is where the justice system allows this to occur because they're also in legal jargon. And if you have a patent, you can do basically whatever the hell you want. It's called liability protection, which the government granted these drug companies. So throw all of this in one diagonal and it's a shit show, to say the least. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I just have to give a prelude to what I was hesitant in describing in the video of what you're going to see me at Little Caesars trying to explain. The problem of commercialism is people buy into this stuff when it's a sure death, and it's just, if the more that's able to occur, it's as if your byproduct is believing that someone's selling you life. Insurance companies aside. So the takeaway from this is these politicians, these town planners, doing on a day-to-day basis is not particle physics. And so particle physics still isn't even complete within between cell life and an atom. The emergent properties, it's not complete. So for them to claim that they're making these shots and calling shots that are accomplished from that, if you're measuring them up in parallel with, particle physics, it is not anywhere close to a parallel. At best, it's just a Mobius diagram, but that Mobius diagram is more of just a chaotic, like, scribble on top of another chaotic scribble and put together. And then calling shots in between there, wherever you can find a fact checker to say that it's in between the two chaotic structures on top of each other. So one thing that the community is not the community, is the people in charge of big tech platforms has shied away from doctors when they're talking about light having memory. And so these photons, they hold energy of a value. And so you can actually, if you encase a photon inside of quartz, I guess, instead of glass, you can like save data in it. And this is nothing different than having bad data saved in light. And this is ostensibly what the devil did to heaven. He polluted it with a whole bunch of his bad people trying to overtake God. And this is what someone says, it's sucking the life out of the room. It's like we were born from cells. The cells have atoms in it. Those atoms and cells, they're going to be around after, you know, you're buried. But your soul, it's that denying the fact that anyone has one, will be around for eternity. And so if you take, I know these are all epic, but the big tech doesn't like people, doctors that are saying scientifically, yeah, there's light, these photons that can be had, stored, bad stuff in them. And so if you have a location, which all the government officials have every location of their city down to a T, that's what these city planners are in charge of. Alright, so one thing you don't do is go on a big tech platform, upload videos trashing on them. It's just like cutting off your hand and then trying to get a gumball off a gumball machine with two hands. It's like, what are you doing, right? I'm not raising the alarm, I'm just saying what's possible. And in doing so, you know, I'm averaging one view. It's probably just some big tech a-hole making sure I don't blow up. And averaging just one view. Perfectly fine. But here's a sure enough thing that is a actual thing in nature. And so it's no surprise that there's a whole line of scientists that work on photon interactions, because it's called the Einstein discovered the photoelectric effect. And this is the whole notion I'm explaining, is where it could cost you an arm and a leg. You can fight tooth and nail at the last minute for something to occur that would make a world of difference. And when someone says that they would bet the world on it, they wouldn't miss it for the world, these are these last minute decisions that are of an occurrence when bad things are happening 10 times more likely. So 10 times more likely to make these decisions having occurrence of a reality when things are, oh, it's just influenza, unhand me. If you go to the hospital, they're recording every citizen in there who has not been having an experimental RNA. So if you can sell death, and people, the more that you're craving to buy into it, it's that much easier